Animal control, animal control. I don't pack a gun, but I'm armed with a pole to lasso loose dogs that all you people let go. 'Cause I'm your Silver City ACO. I'm your Silver City ACO.
Sherwood and Itzy. We're here on a beautiful end of August day.
Yeah, beautiful. We had a little bit of rain here. Actually, quite a bit of rain lately.
Well, we have had 1 inch of rain last night, and that was about it lately. But we're at the shelter, and we have a little area by a pine tree, which is nice and shady. I think it's about 80 out. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, kind of nice. We thought we'd be outside and film the show today from out here.
Yeah, so school started, and you know, it's the end of summer. I always look forward to fall.
Right. Me too. I'm kind of ready for summer to go.
Me too.
It's been warm. Hasn't been too hot, but it's been a typical long summer.
It was a nice non-fire season summer. So
a lot of rain. The weeds have been a real problem around town and everywhere. They're just really growing.
Yeah, ticks. Fleas, all that stuff.
You're right. That's one thing that you folks need to be aware of. With the taller grass, that's when you'll get more tick contact, because they love to climb on the broadleaves, and as we go by, they just jump right on to host whatever's going by. So if you're going, and hunting season coming up, and I've had reports that the grass up in Gila is pretty tall. So I mean, that's where you're going to pick up. If you take your dog with you, more pests like the ticks. So you want to be careful to give your animals an inspection if you're taking them up to the mountains.
Or don't take them at all.
Right.
If they're like my dogs with long fur, just don't bother.
Right, because they'll really get...
It's not fair to them. So, you could do an inspection on a small dog like Itzy, but you've got long-haired...
Your long-haired dogs are really, really tough. I mean, you really got to do a thorough searching to find them ticks in there.
Well, we're doing something a little different today. I guess, well, it's not an experiment, it just is the way we're doing it. Sherwood tells me that the City Council passed an amendment, or a new...
It's an amendment. It's an amendment to the existing animal control ordinances, and it basically talks about confinement and care and maintenance of the animals. So we thought, well, since it's just passed and it's going to take effect in the city here in a couple of weeks, that we wanted to, tell you guys about it, so you'll get an understanding about what it's all about, because it will affect everybody in town, and also the county may also be looking at this type of an amendment too, and it's pretty much a topic of single point chaining or tethering, which has been an issue for quite a while.
Well, and this isn't my area of expertise, so we thought it would be, I could be like the John Q. Citizen, like some of you would be. When everything's changed, you're just kind of going, oh, okay, well, what does that mean? Well, how does that work? So, so Sherwood's going to be reading things, just short. It's not going to be boring in any way.
No, what we're trying to do is Victoria's going to be take your place out here, because all of a sudden you're going to have to deal with these ordinances like any other ordinance, and you're going to go, well, either nobody told me, or what does that mean, or I have questions about it. So we're trying to give you guys a heads up, as far as what's going on with this new amendment.
Just in the city, though.
This is just passed in the city. So again, everybody in town needs to, but it may also. Possible parts of it may be going into the county too.
Yeah, we're going to talk to Gigi in a minute, see what she has to say. All right, well... Then
okay, well, basically, I'm just going to kind of read on and off here from the text. It's called Section 6-187. They always do Section 6 is all your animal codes.
Oh, okay.
So if you ever go looking up a code for the city, they'll all be 6 or 5 or something, and all animal codes are under 6- whatever. And this one's 6-187, restraint, confinement of animals. And it pretty much starts off the same. It's unlawful to let dogs or cats run large in the town. Okay, that's pretty much it. on sidewalks or public property. We all kind of know that. You know, you can't just let your animals roam at large. So that's why. But where it changes here, it says here, an animal owner or keeper shall keep the animal upon his or her premises either in a secure run or kennel area. Well, that's kind of changed. An enclosed surrounding perimeter of the property, or any other acceptable means associated with a particular species of animal in accordance to this chapter. Basically, I think what they're changing here is where you keep your animals. I mean, you've got to either have a fenced yard, or it's going to be in a kennel or a secure run.
Okay.
So a secure run means what to you?
Well, that would be different for a cat or a dog. I mean, because you're talking about animals. Each it would be different.
According to this, yeah.
So if you're talking about a dog, a fenced-in area would have to be, high enough for that breed and possibly covered, because some breeds can climb.
That's right.
But a cat, that's like a whole nother ballgame.
Well, that's where I would think maybe possibly a kennel wording would fit a cat. You know, I know we use catteries in the back, which is an enclosed kennel with a sides and a lid that basically can be attached to the house, so the cats have access to indoor, outdoor without leaving the property.
Or a catio. Have you heard of a catio?
No, but
Oh, well, that's a real term, and it's an up-and-coming thing.
Okay.
Which I even have a book that talks about designs for catios, and so but I can see where I'm wondering if people are going to follow this.
well, this is why we're talking about it, because again, I have the same questions. How is the public going to follow this? And if there's suggestions that you folks out there in the city have, I'm sure your council member would love to hear from you.
Yeah, I bet they would love to hear from you.
So basically, and then it says here the perimeter. So that means if you got a yard, you're going to have to make sure it's totally enclosed.
Yes.
Okay, you can't have like 3/4 of it in an open area. That's not going to work. Wherever that animal can leave. So a backyard, I would think, would be a fenced-in area. But if the front yard isn't totally enclosed, well, then you're going to have a run or kennel.
Or figure out how to divide it up.
Right.
Well, Itzy's letting us know that Gigi's here.
Come on over, Gigi.
Come on over. We're going to fit you in.
Gonna fit me in.
Yeah.
Squeeze me in the middle.
Right. There we go. We'll
Oh,
fit.
plenty of
Everybody knows who Gigi is.
We all fit in here together.
Gigi's very knowledgeable also about the county and the city and the way things work, because Gigi runs the shelter. Gigi and Itzy. But we really haven't gotten too far into this.
Okay.
Gigi.
Yeah, we just kind of stopped. Okay, the next one, like I say, either they're going to have to be on a tether, like a trolley system, or in a kennel area, or in a fenced yard. Okay. Now we're going to go on the next one, which is called the A. I guess that's paragraph, when they say paragraph A or something like that. Okay. When a dog is off its owner or guardian's premises, it must be on a leash. Okay, and they've changed this now to where the lead is no more than 6 feet long, with a person physically capable of controlling the restraining animal. So that, to me, again, I'm just going to take the lead on this, that if you're a slender person and you've got like a Malamute or a Mastiff or something like that,
Or a Newfoundland.
You have to think about that, because it says here physically capable of hanging on to that animal.
I'm going to be busted, I'm sure, if I ever have that anyway.
And no more flex leads, no more the ones that extend out.
Not according to this. It says no more than 6 feet.
So those that the dog can run further, and then it comes to an end, but it's like 20 feet long.
Right.
Is that what it was?
Retracting.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
So
a lot of
basically,
people have that.
right, so they're saying they can't
can't do that.
You can't do that. It can only be 6 feet. If it doesn't retract more than 6 feet out, I mean, I think you're fine.
Right.
Or you just don't release it.
Don't release it too long.
So,
Keep them close.
okay, so can we film a show down at the park while you're busting people for doing this?
Sure.
Next
Well, like I
month.
say, this is all going to be open to interpretation. There will be a grace time for all of this to take effect. So it's not like we're going to start writing citations tomorrow. But again, this is more of an informational type show,
Right.
to where we're just getting out what has passed in our city council. So like I say, if you got a big dog and you can't control it, you could possibly be cited. And I want to use this over and over again, possible, because it's like we're not going to go out just issuing tickets because it's the letter of the law. So we're going to work with you folks, but this is the way it's written. And so if you go to court, the judge will look at this black and white, and that's what the judge has to rule on. Not, well, maybe or whatever. It's
there.
This is what the law says, so she'll have to give her decision on that. So, do you feel 6 feet is too long, too short?
Gigi, what do you think?
I think that's pretty good length, because on a big dog it might be just a little bit long, but the little small, like itsy size, it's a long way from the owner's hand down to the dog.
Yeah.
And that should be sufficient to keep them close enough that
More
they're safe.
room for them to get into trouble, in my opinion, because
Right.
because mine, if they have much at all, they go around the
Around
light
you
post and around my
Right.
legs, and
Well, I kind of like it too about that length, because it says they're capable of controlling it.
Yes.
If it's longer than that, the longer it gets, the harder it is, or
Yeah.
the
Right.
further away your animal is, and it's harder to reel them in, whether it's a little dog or a big dog.
You
I mean,
can't.
if they're running along and somebody's walking on the sidewalk with you, it's hard to.
or if a
Reel
dog
them in.
attacks, there you've got
There
6
you go.
feet that you've got to get your dog all the way back. So
Right.
that's way too long already, in my opinion. But I don't ever use that type of a limit
Well, and
at all.
it says no more, so you can always, most people can use those little 4-footers, which
Right.
are pretty sufficient for inside the city limits.
Right, and I kind of like to see the bigger dogs like on a really short leash, just because we're not sure, and they are strong on what their reaction will be to different situations. And on a short 2-footer,
Yeah.
you're right there jerking on them, and they know they're under control.
Right.
To where a bigger dog, the longer you get them, the more chances you're taking
They
that
take
they
off.
might take advantage of.
They can take off.
They can
Right.
take a bigger jump, that's for sure.
Take a bigger jump. Okay, so we're all kind of in agreement that that's kind of right. But again, the rollout ones, you're not going to be able to let them go 10, 12 feet out there.
Right.
You're going to have to keep them close to you, which is a good idea anyway.
Right.
That's right. All right, the next one is paragraph B. It says here, when on their owners' or guardians' premises, animals must be confined within a completely fenced area of appropriate size to the size of the dog.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's pretty much a gimme. I
Right.
think,
Yeah, it should
Right.
be.
and
It should be.
then it goes on to say the size, the fence shall be of significant height to assure the animal cannot escape, and enough area to prevent overcrowding, and the animal may be confined on a trolley run or within a building.
Okay.
Yeah, all confinement methods shall meet specifications stated in chapter. So basically, from what I'm seeing here, they're saying that if it's in a yard, it's supposed to be on a trolley. And then again, if your yard is fenced, you got to make sure like we talked about
Right.
earlier, they can't jump that fence or tear it down. And we know we've had animals out here at the shelter that, frankly, amaze me that they climb the chain link fences, and we'll find them in the morning walking around the kennel. And
6-foot fences.
big dogs, little dogs, medium dogs. That's what's kind of interesting. It's not breed specific.
Right.
I mean, like, how did that big old dog? I think I came in here and there was a mastiff walking around one morning, and I went, "What was that?" Because he stuck his head around the corner, and I couldn't believe it. Because, and he got out of his kennel,
Yeah.
a mastiff. So, it doesn't matter the size. Okay, so, and then, so it describes, make sure your animal's kept, in a kennel, not a little 2x2 kennel. I'm sure that
Right.
for enough room to, basically not be overcrowded.
Right.
So that's what that.
Most of what they sell, like at Tractor Supply and Ace, are probably 10x10, which is good for Up to
A
what,
medium-sized dog. You really don't want to put a shepherd or a large lab or something like that in them. You know, so
Might get a little bit bigger one.
yeah,
for a
dogs
dog
80
big-
pounds and above, I would think.
Get a little bit bigger. Yeah.
Get a little bit bigger kennel. Because 80 pounds, I mean, you can have, like chows can be 80 pounds, but they're not
Right.
really a big dog. They're more of a
Right.
compact dogs. And definitely your pit bulls, you know, the same thing. You know, 80 pounds is pretty normal for those guys.
Right, and you've got to take in consideration if the dog's outside in their pen, it's going to have a doghouse in there, and that takes up a lot of footage.
Right.
But
So we can, okay, well I don't know, that's pretty good. Then it goes on to here. See, now this is the paragraph that gets interesting, which I think is really going to affect the town and possibly the county, like we say. It's C, prohibited tethering. It is unlawful for any person to keep an animal on an unenclosed premises or to chain, stake, or tether the animal in a cruel or inhumane manner, including not limited to. Okay, so again, that right there tells me that no more single point chaining in the town limits.
Yeah,
Is that fair to say with you guys?
that's what it sounds like.
right,
Okay, and the basic cruel and inhumane manner. That's a give me. Say
Right.
again. That's a normal no-brainer. I mean, we all know to keep your animals, in a humane way and keep them, healthy and.
That's a
and
huge
controlled.
issue. I mean, that's the one thing I hear when people find out that I'm a volunteer and I'm on the board out here. People say, "You've got to do something about that," and I of course explain that I personally can't do anything about that, but they could possibly, be part of a group, right? And apparently, the people that were very concerned about this have gotten this done now. Okay?
Yeah, I believe Councilwoman Bettison was the one that sponsored this. So, again, that's a pretty big one. That
Yeah, right.
all the dogs in this town won't be able to be tied down
with a little short chain or something.
or with a single point.
Right.
You're not going to be able just to tie them to a tree, a post, or a spike.
Can the county be far behind, Gigi? What do you think?
I believe the county, they're in the middle of going over the current ordinance. They're going to update it, and they're looking into the trolley systems too. Of course, most of the animals out in the county, they have so much more room
Right.
on their property than the people in town. The houses in town, some of them are so terribly close together, it's difficult to tie up an animal.
Right.
But theirs is going to read pretty much the same thing, I believe. That you can't tie them in a cruel manner. They have to be able to move around, get to shade, get to water, get to their house, not be confined to one tiny little
Well,
spot.
this is good.
Okay, there are conditions now about this tethering because it says here you can't, single point, stake, or chain, and it says one cable or chain that exceeds 1/8 of the dog's body weight. In other words, you're not going to be able to put a 1-inch chain on a dog like Itsy size. It will be 1/8 of your dog's body weight.
Body weight.
So you need to figure out about how much your dog weighs and then where that would be. I'm thinking a lot of people buy those small cables out of Walmart. Those really don't work for big dogs.
No.
Practically, I don't know how many times we bring in a dog that's broken one of those things and it's got
Right.
half of it tied around its neck or something like that. So
Right.
definitely bigger than the cable ones you usually find at Walmart. So it'll have to be thicker than that. I mean, probably Itsy could probably be tied on something like that. That might be
Right.
about 1/8.
And I know the ones that they sell at Walmart, or at least when they're all in stock over there, they have the dog's weight and size on the package. They have bigger ones for bigger dogs,
Okay.
and the little tiny
Good.
lightweight ones for
Good.
these little guys.
Good.
And another thing that will help with tying them on a cable tie-out is that overhead cable has some give to it, because what lets the dog break the chain in the first place is when they can hit the end of the chain real hard because it's tied to a post or
because it
or a
doesn't
fence,
move at all.
and then it just snaps.
Okay.
When they have that give to the cable, they can't break it.
Right, and I noticed that some of them in the past, rust was involved. If
Right.
like I say, I'm going to keep saying the Walmart thin ones, because we've seen the most of those, and once they get a little corrosion on them, you know, they don't take much to break those guys, you know. And
yeah, that plastic cable deteriorates and then they get wet inside.
And then the weaving breaks. All right, part 2 of it, this is a cable chain which causes a dog to choke or become entangled. So if you got a loose-fitting cable that sometimes, again, we've seen those same things where they'll kind of coil back up when they get old. Okay, I'm sure that's what they're kind of talking about, because that can get snagged on things.
Right, they get kind of crimped up and then they won't swivel.
They won't swivel, right, correct. So, and the same thing with the chain. I don't see if the chain gets too knotted, because if you twist the chain, it'll actually knot it back up and get tight. And I'm pretty sure that's kind of what they're addressing, something like that. So, you know, it really shouldn't be knotted. I don't know, excuse me, I don't know exactly how all this is actually going to work specifically. Again, we're just discussing this and what's been passed, so it gives you folks an idea, you know, again,
what to expect.
Yeah, what to expect. You know, I mean, your feedback will be appreciated. What works, what doesn't work. So, you know, again, that's why we're doing this, is to, you know, bring it out there. Okay, 3, any restraint that prevents a dog from getting adequate food, water, or shelter. Well, that's a gimme. You know, whenever your dog can't get to those 3 things, I mean, yeah, there's a problem. I don't care. I don't care
how they're tied, how they're
what it is attached to. So, I mean, that's kind of again a gimme. Number 4, any restraint that is too short to allow the dog to sit, stand, lie down in a natural position, or does not allow the dog enough area to relieve itself away from its food, water, and shelter area. Which is basically, it's saying, you know, if your dog's got a pooping area, you know, you need to be long enough to where it can go over there and do its thing, and then come back over to its house and you get close to its house.
So people will need to be careful when they string those overhead trolley systems, that they don't get them so high off the ground that the dog can't move around and lie down. They'll have to adjust it.
Yeah, you'll have everybody, and they'll all be individual heights, because again, you know, you have to fit your dog. So kind of whatever fits your dog will work.
Right, and you don't want the cable so low that you're going to catch your own face on it, or maybe a child on a bicycle or something. You don't want it to become a hazard that way.
And the best way to do it, folks, is always just clean up the yard where the dog's at.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, go out,
the yard up.
rake it out, put it in a dog food bag, you know, send it off to the landfill.
Is there an ordinance about keeping your yard clean, though?
Yeah, it's on here too.
Okay.
So that will get to it, but you know, I mean, that's just, again, it's a thing that we all should be doing anyway.
Right.
Like that.
Being a good neighbor.
Yeah, keeping and you know, housekeeping. Okay, 5. No dog shall be tethered to a single point. Okay, that's pretty much.
That's just the stake in the ground.
That's a stake in the ground. Okay, and it doesn't matter what's on that stake, but you won't be able to stake your dog to the ground anymore.
Or a post, or a tree,
or
something that doesn't move.
Right,
like
something that doesn't move. Right.
Something that doesn't move.
The only exception shall be short tethering of working dogs. Well, we're not too concerned. Hunting dogs, yeah. Search and rescue, yeah, it's fine.
Now, people aren't going to get in trouble if they walk over to, say, the post office and they need to run in the post office. They could tie their dog up front and run in and not get in trouble, right? Okay.
And it says here on the last sentences, any other system used to secure or restrain an animal shall be set up as specified herein using a trolley system. So I think the gist of it, no more single pointing. You know, if you don't have a fence yard, you're gonna have to go to a trolley system.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of how I'm reading it. You know. Okay, then it goes on here, number 6, and it's called tie-outs. A tie-out is what? Is like what you tie your 2 posts?
Well, what's the definition says?
Okay, tie-outs, where circumstance warrants and no fencing alternative exists for confining an animal on its owner's or keeper's property, a dog may be secured or restrained by means of a trolley system only if the following criteria are met.
Oh, okay. So what we were talking about just ahead of that was what was prohibited. so this section is just on how to properly tie them out on
Right.
the trolley system. Okay.
Right. Okay. Now, yeah.
Okay.
Again, that's why we're doing it, because again, I'm seeing this, and
Right.
I'm learning right along with you folks. You know, so
Okay.
and this is why we want to just throw it out there for
Right.
discussion.
Sure.
Because again, it's interpretation. Okay, so the proper way to do it is a tie-out, so that would be your trolley, and it says here one dog may be secured on each run, so only one dog
That's common
per
sense, yeah.
trolley, right?
That could be tangled up if they were pulled.
Okay, now,
Could be the end of the line for a dog, for sure.
right, the device must be attached to a pulley on a cable run or trolley of a minimum length of 10 feet. So
Okay.
it'll have to be a minimum of 10 feet. Let's see here. Minimum 10 feet. The cable run must be at ground level or at least 6 feet off the ground. So you can
Okay.
run it along the ground,
On the ground.
or 6 feet tall.
But not at like knee height. 'cause
No,
that,
not
that
at
could
not
be a
anywhere
tangle
between.
problem.
Right.
Could be a real tangle problem.
Yeah, or little. I mean, there's
Little
all kinds of
kids.
scenarios for that one.
Right. Right.
You know, so basically, it's going to drag along the ground or
Okay.
6 feet tall, and no higher than that. All right. Okay. C. The cable chain must be affixed to the animal by use of non-abrasive, comfortably fitted collar or harnesses.
That was my next question.
Okay. The prong type, pinch type, or choke collars shall not be used.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you.
Because that's a tangle
Oh,
hazard.
that's a disaster looking for a place to have it.
Right.
Those
Okay.
things are just not good for much.
Well, they're not good for that. That's not what they were ever designed for. They were simply designed for a training tool.
But that's what you see people doing.
Right. Because they don't want to buy both.
And then their animal chokes to death.
Okay, it says here non-abrasive, comfortably fitted collars or harness. What does that mean to you then?
Well,
What in your mind? What does one of those look like?
the width of the collar is supposed to be in proportion to the dog.
Okay.
And who knows that? A lot of people don't know that. You know, you don't put this size of a collar on a Newfoundland.
Right.
And, I don't think a chain for a collar is a good idea.
Because it's
I've seen that.
That'll rub through the skin.
Yes.
right and break all the hair off. So
Yeah.
so one made out of this one on Etsy here is made out of nylon. That would be good, or leather. Is leather?
They're not
does it
specific on what
stretch?
type of material. Non-abrasive, comfortably fitted, or harness. I like harnesses because I've used that on my dogs when walking them out in the wilderness or someplace
Well,
like that.
distributes things.
Right, distributes I guess where you tether on them.
Yeah.
So I mean that's kind of what I like to do. So okay, but the pinch type, no more choke chains, no more
And-
pinch type collars.
And no more of the big, just the log chain. We see those come into the shelter.
Oh,
They
I
just
hate
got part of the chain they've tied the animal with around their neck.
I mean, that's just awful. Okay, Sherwood's going to go ahead and do one more point about the tethering, and then we've got to wrap it up, and then next month we'll finish with the rest of the
Yeah,
things.
the other section, 6190,
Right.
which is care and the maintenance on the animals that they also change. So, okay, let me just kind of go quickly here. Cable chain should be at least 10 feet, unless such length goes onto somebody else's property, because we talked about
That's
that.
common sense,
Then
right?
then it has to be a minimum of 8 feet.
Okay.
It shall be, no less than 8 feet. So, and then it agreed, trolley system acceptive weight appropriate to your size. We know that. It'll be fashioned so it can sit down, all that basically. We covered all that already. The owner shall keep ensuring the animal is safe from other animals or wild animals.
Oh my.
That might be a
That's
little
amazing.
interesting because, in your yard, but you're going to have to make sure it's an area where it can't get attacked,
Well,
Okay.
or beat up. So,
if you don't have a fence, I don't know how you're going to...
and then the last thing that we'll just touch on is caging or crating. The animal may not be confined in a cage crate where the animal is not free to sit, stand, turn around, or have easy access to fresh water, food, and etc. So that's pretty much it. I mean, again, you can get copies. City Hall we'll have copies. The town website, I think it's silvercity.gov, town of silvercity.gov, and look under Chapter 6, Animal Ordinances. Also on your council meeting notes, there'll be that'll be on there too. Check your local newspapers, internet news, all those. We'll probably be carrying some of this articles on there to stay abreast of this. Because again, it's going to take effect, not tomorrow, but it's coming. And again, that's why we wanted to have this discussion with you folks, to let you know what's going on with the town. If you got any questions, always call your counselor. They're the ones that passed it. They would probably have the best answers as far as how it's going to be enforced. Because I, as the animal control officer, I basically cite on what's written on the paper. I don't have discretion other than saying you violation of this part of the ordinance. And then it goes to municipal court. The fines from $0 to $500, depending upon what the judge feels appropriate.
Well, it's not a fixed fee.
Not a fixed fee, just like all of our, like a lot of our citations. I mean, it's kind of up to the judges.
Like a misdemeanor?
Right. They're all misdemeanors.
Okay.
So basically, that's it.
You know, like we say this a lot. If you're going to have a pet, then really the reason to have a pet is to be your friend. If you can't take care of an animal, then don't have it.
Or wait till a better time is to have it. You know, I mean, we always stress, we're happy for you to bring your animal to the shelter or call me. We'll take it off your hands. There's no charge. There's no shaming involved or any of that. We want to help you, and we understand because we deal with it. We don't want them dropped off in Walmart's parking lot just for some reason, and then they're lost. Call us and we'll help you. Again, sometimes you get into these situations where it's hard to have an animal, and you need to take care of your own life.
Financially it is, but they're still, they're a living, breathing being just like we are.
Yeah, and we can help you out with all that. And that's what we're here for. And the shelter's got a great crew, great adoption rate. So, there's no need to, like I say, if you got a problem, we're here to help you.
Now, after all of this, do you have a joke? I can't imagine what it would be.
Well, it's football season, right? And the other day, a couple teams were playing, and it ended in a 0-0 tie. Well, it doesn't matter anyway.
Doesn't matter anyway.
All right, here's one other one for the financial group.
He's got another.
Okay, why do bankers make good artists?
I have no idea.
They know how to draw interest.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. Have a good month.
See you next time.